Myself, Dr. Hanuman Prasad Banderi. I am working as an assistant professor in the Department of Chemistry at Institute of Aeronautical Engineering, IARE. The topic I am discussing in today's session is from Module 2, Gender and Biology. And the name of the topic is Declining Sex Ratio. This is in continuation with the previous topic, Missing Women and Consequences. And the contents that I am going to discuss in today's session are: what is sex ratio, child sex ratio, country-wise sex ratio in India. Child sex ratio means child in the age of 0 to 6 years, and overall sex ratio in India. Sex ratio trends in India. State-wise child sex ratio. Reasons of declining in sex ratio. Government's strategy towards declining sex ratio. And finally, Ministry of Women and Child Development strategies towards declining sex ratio. Let's discuss all of these contents one by one in detail. The first one is, what is sex ratio? The number of females per 1000 males is referred to sex ratio. What is sex ratio? The number of females per 1000 males is referred to sex ratio. In a society that has males and females equal in number, then the sex ratio is 1:1, or 1000 females for every 1000 males. So we consider the sex ratio in the particular society is 1:1. Then we can say there the general trend is followed. Means for every one male, one female should be there. For example, if there are 3,732 females per 4,000 males in a town, how many females are there? 3,732 females per 4,000 males in a town. Then what is the sex ratio? The sex ratio is calculated per 1000 males. The number of females per 1000 males is considered as sex ratio. And per 1000 males, how many females are there? But here for 4000 males, 3732 females are there. So if you take the ratio, you have to simplify to 1000 males. Okay. Then the left side one should be 922. It will come as 922. If you take 4 factor, 4 into 922 will become 3732, and 4 into 1000 will become 4000. So the ratio is 922:1000. That means the sex ratio is 922 per 1000 males in that particular town. I hope you understood how to calculate the sex ratio. So this is the number of females per 1000 males. Okay. It is an important social indicator to measure the extent of prevailing equality between males and females in a society at a given time. Okay. What is this indicate? It is an important social indicator. It is important social indicator. For what purpose? To measure the extent of prevailing equality. The extent of prevailing equality between males and females in the society at a given time. Okay, I hope you understood what it indicates. It is a social indicator to measure the extent of prevailing equality between males and females. Okay, and the next content is child sex ratio. Child sex ratio is defined as the number of females per 1000 males This is what we have explained in sex ratio. Then what is the difference? Here, in the age group of 0 to 6 years. Okay. So, child is considered in the age group of 0 to 6 years. So, child sex ratio is defined as the number of females per 1000 males in the age group of 0 to 6 years. So, this is the notable point here. In the census 2001, means in the population count, census is nothing but population count. So, this is conducted every 10 years. Okay. So, in census 2001, the child sex ratio of India was 927, which was declined to 919 in the census 2011. In census 2001, child sex ratio is 927, means for 1000 females, there were only 927 females. For 1000 males, there were only 927 females. In the age ratio 0 to, the age group 0 to 6 years. But in 2011, it is further declined. 927 itself low. And in 2011, means after 10 years of census 2001, it was further decreased to 919. Okay. So, that is why I told this is the continuation of missing women and consequences. So, this is the cause of causing women only. Because of that only the sex ratio has declined or decreased. Okay. And the sex ratio is a measure that compares the number of women and men in a particular population group. Okay. It is not only in a city or town, but it also compares the number of women and men in a particular population group. Okay. I hope you understood what is the child sex ratio. It is the number of females per 1000 males in the age group of 0 to 6 years. So, the next content is country-wise sex ratio. If you see, I have taken only 2 years, 2001 and 2011. As I told, the census will be taken, population count will be taken for every 10 years. So, you may get the doubt, 2001, 2011, what about the recent one? Recent one, 2021. Due to COVID, it is postponed actually. So, it will be done in late 2024. It is yet to be done. Some of the places it is done, but it is yet to be done in our country. Okay. So, in India, in 2011, the sex ratio is 933. So, it is overall sex ratio. It is not only females, it is not only child sex ratio or adult sex ratio. It is overall. And in 2011, 940 means little increased. In China, 944 in 2001, 926 in 2011. So, you can guess. So, it was decreased or declined to 926 in China. Means there was the concept of more missing women. When I am discussing missing women concept, I told that the percentage of missing women is more in China. So, I hope it is clear to you according to census 2001 and 11 comparison. Okay. In Pakistan, 938 in 2001, 943 in 2011. There it is little increased. In Bangladesh, 958 in 2001, 978 in 2011. So, there is a significant increment. In 2001, in Sri Lanka, the sex ratio is 1010, means excess female compared to males. And in 2011, it is 1034, means it is again excess. 1010 itself excess, 1034 means it's more excess. Means more females are there in Sri Lanka compared to males. Very rare. And in Nepal, 1005 in 2001 and 1014 in 2011. Means here also excess female population is there. Okay. In Afghanistan, 930 in 2001, 931 in 2011. It is almost same. In Bhutan, 919 in 2001 and 897 in 2011. It is slightly, we can say it is declined in the year 2011 in Bhutan. In Myanmar, the sex ratio is 1011 in 2001, and in 2011 it is 1048. There is a significant increment. So you can take a note where the sex ratio is high. This is high sex ratio, means in Sri Lanka, and in Nepal also there is a high sex ratio, and in Myanmar also sex ratio is high. Okay, so because it is very rare to see, so that is why we have to highlight where the sex ratio is high. Okay, and the next content is sex ratio in India from 1901 to 2011, means from past 100 years. In 1901, the sex ratio in India is 972. In 1911, the sex ratio was 964, means it declined slightly. In 1921, the sex ratio was 955, again it was declined. In 1931, 950, again declined. In 1941, 945, again declined. 1951, 946, means almost same as 1941. And in 1961, 941, it is almost same. Okay, slightly declined. And in 1971, the sex ratio was 930, means it is declined. In 1981, the sex ratio was 934, slightly increased compared to previous census, but compared to the beginning stage, it was declined for. In 1991, the sex ratio was 927. In 2001, the sex ratio was 933, and in 2011, the sex ratio was 940. Means you can observe how the sex ratio is getting declined from 1901 to 2011. Okay, so the sex ratio is getting declined from 1901 to 2011. Okay, let's see the next content. Child sex ratio between 0 to 6 years and overall sex ratio in India from 1961 to 2011. In 1961, the child sex ratio was 976 and the overall sex ratio was 941. In 1971, the child sex ratio was 964. And in 1971, the overall sex ratio was 930. We can see the overall sex ratio was low compared to child sex ratio. Okay, so means when population grows upon time, the nutrition problems arising. That is why the overall sex ratio is getting diminished. That is what you have to analyze. In 1981, the child sex ratio was 962 and the overall sex ratio was 934. In 1991, the child sex ratio was 945 and in 1991, the overall sex ratio was 927. In 2001, the child sex ratio was 927 and the overall sex ratio was 933. In 2011, means the recent population count or the recent census, the sex ratio was 914 and the overall sex ratio was 940. Means you can see in both child sex ratio as well as overall sex ratio, there is a trend that we observed as declined. Okay, the sex ratio is getting declined from one census to another census. So that is why the missing women in throughout the world is high. Okay, so that is why it is getting diminished. Otherwise, it should get increased. Okay. So that is what you have to take a note, and you have to take steps towards implementation and improvement. Okay. The next content is sex ratio trends in India. It is the overall sex ratio. In 1901, it is at 972, that I have already explained. In 1911, 964. In 1921, 955. In 1931, 950, getting diminished or getting declined. In 1941, 945. In 1951, the sex ratio was 946. In 1961, the sex ratio was 941. And in 1971, the sex ratio was 930. And in 1981, the sex ratio was 934. In 1991, sex ratio was 927. In 2001, sex ratio was 933. And in 2011, 940, which was the recent population count taken in India, or the census 2011 in India. Okay. So this is what I have explained in the previous slide also, but here it is trend. Okay, so how the graph looks like, we plot sex ratio versus census years. Sex ratio on the y-axis and census years on the x-axis. So census years means the years where or when population count is taken. Okay. And let's go to the next content. In India, state-wise sex ratio. So, in India, in Jammu and Kashmir, in 2011, 933 was there. In 2011, 940. In 2001, 933. In 2011, it was 940. This is total population, according to total population. And according to child sex ratio, 2001 927 and 2011 it was 914. It is in India, overall India. Okay. And if you take the sex ratio in the age group 7 and above, 0 to 6 as I told, it is child sex ratio. And 7 and above, it will be 934 in 2001, it was 931, 934 in 2001, and in 2011 it was 944. Okay, so if you take overall 933 in 2001, 940 in 2011, this is throughout India. Now if you see state-wise sex ratio, in Jammu Kashmir it was 892 in 2001, 883 in 2011 overall, and child sex ratio was 941 in 2001, 859 in 2011, and sex ratio in the age group 7 and above in 2011 884, and in 2001 it was 884, and in 2011 it was 887. In Himachal Pradesh, 968 overall sex ratio in 2001, 974 in 2011. The child sex ratio was 896 in 2001, 906 in 2011. The sex ratio in the age group 7 and above is 980 in 2001, and it was 983 in 2011. So, in Punjab, it is 876 overall in 2001, 893 in 2011 overall. And the child sex ratio in 2001 was 798, and 2011 it was 846. And the sex ratio in the age group 7 and above was 888 in 2001, and 899 in 2011. So we have seen up to Punjab, and notably you can see the trend here. There were two places. One is Lakshadweep. So I have shown quotes. Quotes indicate Union Territories, UTs. Those are Chandigarh, NCT of Delhi, New Delhi, and Daman and Diu, Dadra and Nagar Haveli, Lakshadweep, Puducherry, Andaman and Nicobar Islands. And recently, after 170 article, it was Jammu and Kashmir also added in Union Territories, but this was up to 2011 only, right? So that was state only in 2011. So notably, if you see Lakshadweep, last to 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if you take Kerala, instead of Lakshadweep, take Kerala. In Kerala, it was 1058. The sex ratio was 1058 in 2001. And it was 1084 in 2011. You can see how the sex ratio was getting increased in Kerala. And child sex ratio in 2001 was 960. In 2011 it was 959. Almost same. This is child sex ratio. The sex ratio in the age group 7 and above in 2001 was 1072, and in 2011 it was 1099. So you can see the notable thing is in Kerala especially the sex ratio is high. And if you take Puducherry, that is Union Territory. So Kerala is a state in which the sex ratio is high, and Puducherry, which is an Union Territory, where the sex ratio is also high. In 2001, the overall sex ratio was 1001, and in 2011 it was 1038. In 2001, the child sex ratio was 967. And in 2011, it was 965, almost same in 2001 and 2011. There is not much declinement, so it is almost same. And the sex ratio in the age group 7 and above in 2011 was 1006, in 2001 was 1006, and in 2011 it was 1047. Means take a note of this. The sex ratio is high in the state of Kerala and in the Union Territory of Puducherry. Okay? And where the sex ratio was low, that also you have to take a note. Let's see here. 892, 968, 876, 777. You can see Punjab, Chandigarh. 777, 710 in Daman and Diu. Okay, you can see in states it is Chandigarh also Union Territory. So notably in two Union Territories the population was low, especially the sex ratio was again low. Okay, in Chandigarh and Daman and Diu you can see the sex ratio overall and child sex ratio and sex ratio in the age group 7 and above. Okay. In Chandigarh, the overall sex ratio in 2001 was 777, and in 2011 it was 818. Means a significant increment after 10 years. And the child sex ratio was 845 in 2001, and it was 867 in 2011 in Chandigarh. And the sex ratio in the age group 7 and above in 2001 was 767, and in 2011 it was 812. So this was low compared to all the states and union territories. And there was one more union territory where the sex ratio is further low, means least you can say. The overall sex ratio in 2001 in dominant Dayu was 710, and in 2011 it was 618. It was declined to significant factor. Okay, and the child sex ratio in 2001 in dominant Dayu was 926, and in 2011 it was 909. Further declinement. And the sex ratio, especially in the age group 7 and above, was 682 only in 2001. And in 2011, it was very low, 589. Means there are only 589 females per 1000 males. You can see how worse situation in Daman and Dayu. It is an island. So the least sex ratio was in Daman and Dayu. After that, Chandigarh. And the highest sex ratio was observed in the state of Kerala, and the highest sex ratio in union territories was observed in Puducherry. Okay, and let's go to the next content. What are the reasons of declining in sex ratio? As I have discussed in Missing Women and Consequences, the reasons of declining sex ratio are female feticide, means people, those who do not want females in rich classes or in propertied classes, they worry about daughters because after her marriage the son-in-law may demand a share in the property. And propertyless classes or poor classes do not want daughters because of dowry harassment, okay, for the marriage of daughters. So that is why they do not want daughters in the golden era. So they used to go for female feticide for killing the female infants, okay. And the next reason, the main reason for declining in sex ratio is contributed to son preference and daughter aversion, means they prefer son and they do not prefer daughter. So that is the main reason, preference, that is according to the trend at that time. So that is immature trend, but nowadays it was achieved to more extent. It was maturity was grown among the people. Next reason for declining sex ratio is post-birth sex selection. Means after the birth of child, they go for abortion if it is female. So that is called post-birth sex selection. Okay, so that is also reason for declining in sex ratio that I have explained in Missing Women and Consequences. And social attitude and perceptions, how the society thinks about the females and how the society has perception regarding females. So they just think that in the golden era, the females are just for working in the home itself. So that is why they go for female feticide or female infanticide or degrading of female. All these things were happened in the golden era because of lack of maturity. So that is the reason of declining in sex ratio. One of the reasons we can say. And what is the reason for this kind of attitude in society and this kind of perception in society? The main reason is lack of education and lack of awareness. So due to these, the people have misconceptions, misperceptions. Then they go for abortions, sex selective abortions. They go for female feticide, female infanticide. And they used to kill the daughters. Okay, so that is what happened in the golden era. And in the current era, so the maturity was spread among the people and it was okay. Okay, so these are the reasons of declining in sex ratio. And the next content in today's session is government strategies toward declining sex ratio, how to control this declining in sex ratio. So the government has taken some strategies. The first one is PNDT Act, which was taken in 1994. Okay, prenatal diagnostic techniques for the regulation and prevention of misuse. So by using these advanced techniques, they can understand the status of upcoming baby. Okay, how the baby's health condition is. Is it weight was okay, or health condition okay? Are there any deformities? All these things we can check by PNDT for the improvement of health and all. Okay, but not for female infanticide or female infanticide or abortion, not for that. Okay, this is only for the regulation and prevention of misuse, to control the health conditions and to control the deformities if there are. Okay. And the second strategy was implementation of preconception and prenatal diagnostic technique, which is abbreviated as PCPNDT. Preconception and prenatal diagnostic technique. Preconception means before pregnancy, before delivery. Okay. And in fact, before baby born. Okay. This is under the National Health Mission, NHM. Okay. They have implemented these techniques. As I told, in the PNDT Amendment Act was there in 2002. Okay, so that was coming under National Health Mission, NHM. So this was implemented by government to control the declining in sex ratio. And there was a national campaign called Beti Bachao and Beti Padhao. Beti Bachao and Beti Padhao. Beti ko bachao and Beti ko padhao. Okay, let's save the daughters and let's educate the daughters. That is what it means. This is to celebrate the girl child and enable her education. To celebrate the girl child is to celebrate the birth of girl child. So nowadays, as I told, people are considering Mahalakshmi if daughter was born or if daughter is born, and if they know their baby is daughter. Okay, so like that the maturity was grown. Okay, so that is what the national campaign Beti Bachao and Beti Padhao represents. And the next scheme that was taken by government was improvement of health and nutrition status of especially women and children through various schemes under National Health Mission (NHM), and also integrated child development schemes, abbreviated as ICDS, integrated child development schemes, etc. Like those schemes include Janani Suraksha Yojana. Janani means mother protection. Okay, after giving birth to baby, whether it is male or female, especially female. Okay, Janani Suraksha Yojana, which is abbreviated as JSY, which is a scheme provided under NHM and integrated child development schemes, ICDS, for the improvement of health and nutrition status of women and children through these schemes. And one more scheme is Janani Sishu Suraksha Karyakram, which is abbreviated as JSSK. One is Janani Suraksha Yojana, JSY, and second one is Janani Sishu Suraksha Karyakram, JSSK. Means if daughter is born, means female is born, to take the protection, what kind of protections, what kind of health conditions, and what kind of nutrition has to be given, the diet. Okay, and 108 ambulance service in the emergency time, and 104 health helpline. If there are any health issues, then there was a helpline introduced by government under NHM and ICDS schemes is 104 health helpline, and weekly iron and folic acid supplementation. Weekly iron and folic acid supplementation, which improves the condition of baby, okay, in the womb. So, which is abbreviated as WIFS, okay, weekly iron and folic acid supplementation. This is a program conducted by government to improve the declining in sex ratio under National Health Mission NHM and Integrated Child Development Schemes ICDS. Okay, I hope this is clear to all of you. What are the strategies followed by government to control the declining in sex ratio? And the next content I am going to discuss in this content is, in this session is, Ministry of Women and Child Development Strategies towards declining in sex ratio. Ministry of Women and Child Development has taken some strategies to improve the declining in sex ratio. Those are by conducting National Girl Child Day from January 24 from 2009 onwards. So the National Girl Child Day was observed on January 24. So it was started from 2009. Okay, to improve the declining in sex ratio. Means people used to celebrate the girl child. Okay, and people used to enable their education under the program. What is the program? Beti Bachao and Beti Padhao. Okay, and by setting up Sectoral Innovation Council on Child Sex Ratio. So the Ministry of Women and Child Development has set up Sectoral Innovation Council. Sectoral Innovation Council on Child Sex Ratio. Okay, and by conducting a new scheme, Care and Protection of Girl Child. What is the new scheme? Care and Protection of Girl Child. This is a multi-sectoral action plan to improve child sex ratio, especially to improve child sex ratio. And the scheme is Care and Protection of Girl Child. It is a multi-sectoral action plan to improve child sex ratio. Okay, and other initiatives also taken by Ministry of Women and Child Development. Those are Beti Janmahotsav, which is an initiative under the mission Purna Shakti. What is the mission name? Purna Shakti. And what is the scheme name? What is the initiative name? Beti Janmahotsav. Okay, this is coming under the mission Purna Shakti in Pali, which is located in Rajasthan state, for promoting the value of girl child among the community. What is the purpose? To promote the value of girl child among the community. Okay, so Beti Janmahotsav, which is under the mission Purna Shakti, which was conducted in Pali city in Rajasthan state. Okay, and another initiative is brand ambassadors have been used for governments Save the Girl Child. Okay, brand ambassadors have taken a campaign under the name Save the Girl Child. So by this kind of campaigns, there was awareness among the population to control the declining in sex ratio. And there was another campaign called Atmaja. One campaign is Save the Girl Child, another campaign is Atmaja. This is a serial on the plight of the girl child has been telecast on the national network. Okay, this was telecasted on national network. Okay, so that is how Ministry of Women and Child Development have taken strategies towards declining in sex ratio. Okay, so government was successful, and Ministry of Women and Child Development was also successful in promoting the sex ratio or to regulate the declining in sex ratio. Okay, so the references I have followed are Gender Studies by Kadambari, and Gender Sensitization by Rajalakshmi Kalyan. Thank you very much for all of your attention.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.